Not limited to one mark, it's positioned before farmers, delegates, investors, and agro-dealers from across the continent. From Lusaka to the rest of Africa.
USSD or a mobile application. They can dial a short code *404# on Mtine and Zamtel at the moment and be able to access those services at no cost to the farmer.
Okay. All right, thank you so much, Cassandra. We'll get to Ahmad. Tell us a bit about Rinato Space.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So Rinato Space is a local hubby company where we turn satellite data into decisions. So we combine multiple signals from different satellites, and through research and AI and a lot of ground truthing, we turn that into decisions that the farmers and the institutions can rely on to know what to do, where to do it, and what needs to be done in timely manners. Thank you.
Right, so we'll get to Silon. Can you just tell us what is a so that the audience here can understand before we get into the nitty-gritties of our discussion this morning?
All right, awesome. Thank you for having me. So Bargnbay as a platform helps conscious consumers to actually access markets like those of online, where you can conveniently make your order and have fresh produce delivered to your doorstep or even at work. And then in addition to that, we also help farmers at the point of sale. We connect farmers to market information. We promote market transparency, and primarily we also just want to help farmers as well to stay informed throughout. That's at the point of sale in markets. Thank you.
When we talk about, I'll start with you. When we talk about Agritech in Africa, what is impact really like for the everyday farmer?
Okay, impact for the everyday farmer. Well, I'd like to put it this way. Farmers mainly need two things. Top line, bottom line. Farmers mainly need two things. That is one, access to information and access to markets. Because if we can't sell what we can't grow, then, I won't say it's pointless, but it becomes really tricky. So the farmers want to stay informed, and at the same time, they do want to sell. So what does impact look like for me? Well, for me, impact really is farmers who are happy, farmers who are digitally connected to the digital world, and farmers who are pretty much included, like big time digital inclusion. That is what personal impact does look like for me.
I'll get to you, Ahmad, from your experience. Where are the biggest opportunities for technology to transform agriculture today?
Thank you for the question. That's actually the right question to always ask, because a lot of people think that, we'll bring in solutions for the farmer and so on, but they're not looking at the impact of that. Like, do the farmers really need this? Does it really help them? Does it really impact them? Or it's just another tool that's a nice to have and so on. So many farmers don't struggle because lack of effort or lack of tools that are there. They struggle because of late decisions or uninformed decisions, or just not knowing where these decisions sit in the context. And it's not only the farmers, even the people who work with the farmers, the extension officers, the program managers, the institutions, the government, having wrong decisions or late decisions cost the farmers a lot, and that's what technology is trying to bridge.
Cassandra, I saw you noting your need. Do you want to contribute to that as well?
Yes, I agree totally, and I think just to pump out that, I think the opportunity lies in this kind of information that is needed, but
Translating it into a simple, easy to understand, not complicated, accessible manner. So there's lots of information out there, but as Ahmad said, the impact is in being able to translate that to my everyday farming.
Okay. So I'm still on you. Your work focuses on data and insights. How can farmers begin to use data in simple, like the way you mentioned, and practical ways to improve their productivity?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. And indeed, we do focus on data and insights for the farmer. as I mentioned, through just a regular feature phone, you don't even need to have a smartphone, you dial the short code and you're able to access that information. Other than what I mentioned, I think the important part that I want to emphasize here is that the information that you get through the Agripredict platform is tailored to you. So it's not at district level or provincial level, it's down to my farm, depending on what I'm growing, depending on the weather conditions, I'm getting that tangible, actionable insights through the phone.
Okay. Okay, so I'll get to Silon. Can you walk us through the problems, or maybe let me say, sometimes you say problems, sometimes it is so big, but maybe what, can you walk us through challenges, the challenge your platform is solving, and how is it making life easier for farmers or agri-businesses?
Oh, okay, awesome. So as a farmer, right? Most times you are growing produce, you want to take it to the supermarket or at the open market. Most of the farmers today actually rely on making a phone call, maybe to Mr. Mtine. How much was tomato today, or how much was grape yesterday, right? That has been the traditional way of doing things, mainly. And then, in addition to that, there is also the issue of middlemen. So, in the markets, transparency is not so much there in the open markets, and also there is an issue with a middleman, as well as just other market barriers that farmers get to face. These are realities that farmers get to talk about all the time. We've come into that space to say, you know what, we are going to promote, we're going to bring a lot of visibility to these markets. We're going to help traders to become digitally included, and we're going to introduce these traders and farmers to the digital economy. So what am I trying to put across? If, for example, either UT or Cassandra has got a restaurant, and they do want to tap into fresh produce, good fresh produce, we want to be able to link either myself, who's the farmer, or Ahmad, who's the farmer, straight to Cassandra's restaurant, right? So there's direct access to markets, there's linkages, there's also market transparency that we are promoting big time. So both in the open markets as well as in the other closed markets.
Okay, thank you so much. So far I can know that I can certainly say that we're locking African agriculture potential through sandwiches. Okay, so I'll get to you, Ahmad. So technology is evolving rapidly, okay?
Yeah.
And how can farmers start embracing digital tools? I know probably in our Zambian setup, most of the farmers, maybe for lack of a better word, I'll say illiterate? Yeah, for lack of a better word. So how can farmers start embracing digital tools even if they have limited access or resources?
Yeah, no, that's very true. It's called tech illiterate, and hopefully one day we will overcome the problem. That's still definitely one of the major problems. But what we've learned from working closely with the farmers on the ground is that farmers don't really need to see satellite images or don't need to understand the complexity behind them. All they need is clear, simple guidance to what needs to be done. So at Rinato, we don't just give data. What we do, kind of similar to what Agripredict does, we combine satellite intelligence with AI and real field data just to tell you what to do, where, and when, in very simple terms. So on of things that they receive whether through email or SMS in their own language, and telling them what to do, where, and when. And at the institutional level, like I mentioned before, extension officers and programs, they will see the full picture. So it will tell them 18 out of 3,000 fields have a problem. These are the problems. You click and go and see exactly what's happening, where to direct your resources, what's the biggest issues you have, and that helps you properly with the farmer on what needs to be done and where and when.
I'll get to Cassandra. Many farmers, there's an introduction of artificial intelligence and people being told to embrace artificial intelligence. So I wonder why, I'll start with this, like many farmers are interested in technology but may not know where to start. What practical advice would you give to a farmer looking to adopt Agritech solutions? Yeah, that's
That's a great question.
There is a lot of complicated solutions out there. So I think that my advice would be just to start simple. There's a lot of cool stuff out there, sounding cool, looking cool, but I would say just start simple with what makes sense to you, kind of what we've both been emphasizing, something that is practical to you, something that gives you actionable information and helps with your everyday farming. I also think when you start simple, it gives you the confidence to, purchase other tools longer term. So I would suggest to start simple.
Okay. I'll pose this question. How many farmers or maybe agribusinesses have you worked with so far? Maybe if you can just approximately.
Sure. We have over 510,000 as of last week, so this number increases all the time. Over 510,000 farmers across the country.
Okay. Maybe you want to also just put it out there.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. So it starts really easy, and this is one of the biggest problems that we've seen. It starts with the farmer just noting down simple data. When did they plant? What did they do? What happened? And so on. That data, whether for our platform, her platform, any platform, or anyone trying to take decisions, need that data to be able to really predict or forecast what's going to happen. But most farmers are just doing it without anything. It requires a pen and a paper and just noting down, I planted on this date, I harvested on this date, this happened, and you have access to this data if they allow to share it, put it in, and much more able to give them back what they need to do. So technical ability to read it, but they don't have to. Luckily in Zambia, they are one. And farmers already trust these people. So through these people, this is where now you can start learning about the technology, about the tools available, and bit by bit, get your own fields. Thirdly, stay consistent. Small habits, can help immensely in the future. Knowing what happened last season can really help you what you need to do this season. And that's it.
You want to add also maybe how many farmers or maybe businesses you work with?
I hope that then I will get fired.
Okay, we need it a little bit. So we see many great innovations, but scaling remains a challenge. What does it take to move from a good idea to a solution that reaches thousands of farmers? So I want, we can start and get to Ahmad and then we get to Cassandra.
Okay, so I'm going to add on what my colleague has mentioned. You do have a good idea, but if you don't put it down later on paper, it's just going to become an idea. And in addition, let's say, okay, fine, you've written down your idea as a farmer or as a producer. Are you going to act on that particular idea? Because if you don't, then your idea is only worth the paper that it's written on. Alright? So for our farmers today, I've observed there is this big move of money is in the soil, money is in the soil. We are not disputing that. But what we are saying is, let us build a business around everything that we are doing. Alright? Be consistent, even in the little things that you're doing. Write down as much as you can, and then at a certain time you're going to find a way on how you can use that data to understand, okay, what am I doing? Because the data is always going to speak back to you as a farmer. So as farmers who are pushing this way, no farmers now, farming should be a business or farming should be agribusiness, we really need to act on that. There is a whole lot of workshops that are usually put around farming, including expos like this. As we are attending, let us collaborate. So far, as you can observe, all of us who are here, I don't farm. I'm not so sure if Ahmad does. Sometimes in his backyard, I would like to dispute, right? But then we are people in tech, right? So your strengths plus our strengths. Ultimately, we all just want to build one thing that works out for the farmer. The last thing that I would like to say on the same question is, at the end of the day, we all want to say we want to work maybe with the government or with big institutions, and these are people who are policy makers. Now, the thing with policy is, in the African context, policy changes like maybe once in 3 or 4 months, but markets change every single day. You get the picture, right? So it calls for a very big collaboration between you people and us, the tech guys. Then ultimately, we can make the Africa that we want. Thank you.
Sorry.
What I'm going to say is that scaling doesn't happen because of technology, but it happens because of systems. You don't build these systems, you design these solutions to the farmer doesn't really care like which solution. Access the details about their fields, access the money, access mobile money networks and all that stuff. A coherent system that works and is designed to work together is what's going to change everything. And this will really require us to sit together and collaborate. I always say collaboration is the new competition. We have to set aside, no, I want to beat you, I want to be better than you, and so on, and see how can we build each other for the system to really work, because at the end of the day, that's how we can all benefit from the system by impacting the biggest amount of people that can benefit from all this seamless system.
I like what my panelists have said. Well said, guys. I think I'll add from our experience. So I mentioned that we've grown to 510,000 over the years, which represents over 29 million interactions on the platform. I would say that in addition to what has been said, that I think for us, scaling starts with ensuring that we really understand the challenge. Because with how we have done what we have managed to do, which is really including the farmer in the development process, it has allowed us to maintain this solution and build it to make sure that it's impactful and scalable. So I think in addition to what's been said, I would add that it's important to really understand the challenges so that we build towards that.
So the new policies are looking at African agricultural potential through synergies. So when you look at it, it highlights collaboration, it highlights partnership. So what role do partnership play in scaling Agritech solutions across different regions? So any can take up that. Okay. Yes. So what role do partnership play in scaling Agritech solutions across different regions?
Want to take that? Oh. Sorry.
Okay, awesome. Talking about partnership, I'm actually pleased to say this. If you can look at our sitting arrangement, I just realized something, right? Cassandra, they're on the ground, in the rural setups, talking to farmers and impacting farmers. We're talking of close to 1 million farmers so far, right? And these are people who are constantly informed every single day. Through the feature phone, smartphones you mentioned, they are on the ground. And then come to Rinato, right? There is AI that's involved. There is central imaging that's involved. This is something really sweet. I want to perform the journey.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, and then when the farmer has grown all that and everything, then we say, okay, come over to Bargnbay or enterprise, right? This is the sales information. All this data put together from just these three businesses that are here. All this data put together, this can affect policy big time. Your question directly, what should partnerships look like? Basically, the way we are seated just now, this is actually really awesome because Cassandra is my friend. Ahmad was mentoring me just 2 months ago. We had a workshop and it's also made a very big impact on Bargnbay on enterprise. So as founders, as co-founders and CEOs, I can say we are doing great. We are up to something. We want more farmers, we want more institutions. We want people who are serious for action because we are everybody hungry. We are everybody hungry for action, for change.
Yeah.
We want the numbers, we want the growth.
Okay. You want to say something?
Yeah. So the biggest challenge we've seen is not really the availability of these applications and so on. It's how fast the decisions can be made from the farmer to all the way to the government or the institutions about this data. Because knowing that, oh, I need to go to the applications and so on, and then seeing what's happening, by the time this information reaches all the chain all the way to the top, it becomes too late. Let's take an example, whether it's Zanaco or it's the government and so on, they need to know what's happening with the maize fields this year and so on. By the time they ask the farmer, who tells the extension officer, who tells it's too late to take the right decision on what needs to be done. And this is where the technology helps this become much faster and much easier. As I mentioned before, whether it's the government or the banks or whoever it is, they are able to log in, and the satellites are regional. Like, they scan all of Zambia every day. And you can see these 20 farms have a problem right away. You don't need to go like and do so many parts of the chain for you to be able to know what decisions to take. And these decisions are disseminated then after that through our platform, through their platform and so on, to know exactly what they need to be doing to solve their issues. So it just takes that we build this system together.
Yeah.
And from my side, and hopefully for the others later on, from my side, because we do use satellites, which are global satellites, we are able to go to any district, to any country, just by knowing where your farm is. So whether you are in Kenya, or you are in the UK, or you are in Zambia, we are able to give you satellite intelligence about your farms as soon as we start collaborating together. And this is across 10,000 farms at the same time, or much more than that. This is where intelligence now helps you come up with very fast decisions on what needs to be done based on real data that's monitored daily.
Yeah, I think partnership is so essential. I think for Agripredict, our experience has been we've been able to grow to where we are now with amazing partnerships along the way. And I think just to top up what's already been said, I think the conclusion is that when we come together, each coming with their own expertise to the table, we can provide a holistic approach, right, and solution, which is, again, the farmer at the center.
Okay, so you are talking about solutions. So my question is, what kind of partnerships have been most effective in helping your solutions grow and also reach more farmers? You mentioned about almost a million farmers on your platform. So yeah, what kind of partnership have been most effective in helping your solutions grow and also reach more farmers?
Yeah, the shared vision. These partnerships have allowed us as Agripredict to really bring value to the table. Sometimes you don't always know what it is, but allowing that development process to take its so that we, at the end of the day, come up with a solution that makes sense, again, for the farmer. I would also say it has been allowed, the ones that have allowed us not to duplicate. So we are coming in this partnership knowing what we need to do, and the other player bringing in the different expertise. So really, that I think those have been the three things that have been really critical for our partnerships.
Okay, I'm gonna push back on that. Yeah, so partnerships are extremely essential, but I think we are not doing it properly or enough in Zambia. This is the reality. Similar, something, not just there's an event once per year and so on, let's sit together, talk for a few minutes on the stage and then go meet next year. Once we start, guys, come sit together. Done. The government, everybody. X. whoever it is. Not even listening to what we are saying here. And we're not saying that, okay, we are the greatest or whatever, but once you start putting money or putting support into your local institutions, this is how their capabilities start growing. Yes, we cannot compete with a European company that's 20 years old, but with the right support, we are able to collaborate with that company to grow local support and local capabilities. And this is a platform where I say, please, let's sit down together without fancy events and so on. Let's sit down around the table and see how we can really build systems that outlast us and benefit all of Zambia and the future of Zambia.
Let me not take what has been said.
Okay, all right. Maybe because he also just talked about, touched a bit on challenges.
Yeah.
So maybe I pose this to you. As you deploy these solutions, what are some of the common experiences or barriers that you encounter? And how have you worked around them? Any business has got challenges, so that's my question to you. What are some of the common experiences or barriers you encounter, and how have you worked around them?
Okay. It's one of those questions where publicly you respond, and then the harsh part comes in where somebody says, we heard you say this, so no more contract for it. It's bad. But most of the challenges that we have faced, really, what Ahmad has said. One, where the local guys, we hardly get much of support, institutional support, or even just support from the people that we want to create these solutions for at the institutional level. Another challenge is there is a very high barrier to entry when it comes to getting into some of these institutions. I'm sure you can see how Ahmad looked at me. I'm trying to get scared with my words. But if we are people who are building businesses from the ground up, right? And these are more or less privately owned, but here for the greater good. We want to make end very much faster. Because if we're going to do things really slowly, other people, no impact at the end of the day.
Okay, maybe.
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Okay, so as you deploy these solutions, what are some of the common experiences or barriers or challenges that you encounter, and how have you worked around them?
Yeah, so definitely adoption is the biggest one, but that's for all technologies, not really just our technology. And we were able to circumvent that by working with the institutions, with NGOs who different programs that they've done. But also the main challenge remains is connectivity. All tech more or less requires connectivity. And I know a lot of companies are working on that, but I hope it becomes rural areas where we go that you don't get like refreshes daily and so on. So that's the biggest challenge definitely.
Sandra?
Thanks. I'd say the challenges, especially earlier on, was one lesson we learned in, I think, the second or first year, was that not all innovation translates into practical value for farmers. And some of the challenges that have been highlighted that we experienced as well, of course, low connectivity, smartphone penetration, varying levels of digital literacy as well. These are things that we found out being on the ground, and how we managed. We focused on accessibility, being So not necessarily focusing on the app, or whatever we can do on the app, you must be able to do USSD. So that switch for
they are watching and also they are listening. What is one technology or tool to start using immediately to improve their farming or market access?
This would be very biased, but I would strongly the Agripredict platform, just because I'm from there. Any regular phone. The services that I mentioned earlier for free. All the way from planting to market, you'll be able to access them. So that would be my strong recommendation.
Maybe also, it's also your time to also be biased to the market.
No, I'll take it back to the simple stuff.
Okay.
Just pen and paper. That's your first step. Do that, and then you can translate that into the app, into the whatever it is. But first, you need to start taking down data today. That's the most important step. If you're not doing that, no matter what we try to do, it's not really going to help you. Yeah, that's it.
Also, just watching Aspire Millennium TV, what is one technology or one tool that farmer can start using immediately, okay, as just now to improve their farming and also market access?
All the tools that I hear up front, I mean, jump on those tools, subscribe, right? Subscribe and then get up to, get connected, get linked. And also just I think on the ground level, something that I've had the pleasure of recommending to farmers. I know farmers, most of the farmers are in different cooperatives, either in the rural setup or those who are closer to formal places like Lusaka. In the cooperatives, let's start talking about things like this. Let's talk about models that can actually work. Let's talk about digital tools that farmers can jump onto. I mean, if the cooperative has got maybe chairpersons or directors who are not, who don't have the capacity to carry a vision forward, then just fire the replacement. Get somebody, maybe from NRDC, somebody who might bring on some change. Because farmers have to be pushed forward. We shouldn't wait 20 years until we start seeing some big change. It has to start now. There are tools that have just been mentioned just now. There's Rinato, there's Agripredict, there's Bargnbay or Banda, right? There's a lot of tools that you can mention that benefit the farmer. We are building all these things for you people. Be around people who are going to help you towards that shared value. The first panel that was here, there was a question that was posed on the challenges, and a response that came out was a lot of farmers, producers, traders often work in silos. They work alone. I mean, let's do away with that. The market is bigger for each one of us, like every one of us. The market is very much bigger. So please, farmers, don't just be relaxed on being where you are. Like, push yourself to change. Start writing down, get a phone, be on the internet, tap into something. You will find that the challenges are far much less than the value that you're going to get.
Okay. So I'll get to you again as we close. What message would you like every farmer here to take away about technology and agriculture?
The message that I would like every farmer to take is do whatever you can to find yourself in the internet. As long as it just grows, let's stop making excuses. unless you're in an area that is pretty much like bad, feature phones, those can work. But please do what you can to stay ahead because the world is moving very much faster. Not all of us can farm, but at the end of the day, we can all do something we can actually value change.
As for me, I'd say that it's not using technology for the sake of using technology or looking cool and so on.
Yeah.
The future of agriculture is not just more data. It's fewer wrong decisions at scale that can change everything for you.
I love that. It's not just a matter of looking cool.
Yeah. With that, and I think what the narrative we've been saying here, I hope it's clear that it's really the technology can help you make better decisions. So again, not just about having it, but what can it do and how can it translate into better actions or better decisions for my farm, my community, and of course the nation.
Okay, Cassandra, thank you. So, 3 questions from the audience. Okay, I can see. Okay, so someone to help me just take the mic. So we'll start with the mic here. So the mic.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Dr. Rinato, I'm the CEO of Kilimo Trust. Thank you to the panelists. I enjoyed your discussion. I have 2 questions. Kilimo Trust is a regional East African organization and we support farmers to access markets. We are a homegrown organization. My first one is to Ahmad. I was intrigued to see Rinato space. Yes. All work together. Farmers struggle. I struggle myself with having Airtel app in I and 15 my phone. The farmers struggle with the same. In fact, we struggle to get something new or value once an app or technology product. How can we get like a single spine framework that can talk to the farmer? So if a farmer knows, I want my plot maps, I want to know weather information. It should be provided by 1, 2, 3, but it is in one spot that I can access it. Because that's what the farmers struggle with. When we come up with another product, they keep saying, now this is another one, so which one should we stick to? So that is one of them. That's my question.
So first, thank you for the invitation. I'll definitely take you on it. I always think data should be open to everyone. One of the biggest struggles that we've had here, that everyone is trying to keep data for themselves and say like, no, we are the custodians of this data and so on. And I don't believe that. I believe the future is about being more open, so more research can be done, so more connectivity, so more solutions can be done. When people think about money, they try to protect themselves so much. The second part is definitely, that's part of what we were talking about, is creating the seamless system that goes through different things and give like one place where the farmer, all the institutions access that data. This is very hard to be done if it's not worked on, because will come to get it at a price, and then you can sell it. I don't have a problem. I'm more than happy that you sell it. I don't want to go and meet farmers one by one. As he said, they are on the ground, that's great. I'm not interested in being on the ground with each farmer, so we can use their platform, and then we give the data for the institutions, which could be them. So it's just about changing the perspective on, no, this is my company, I want to maximize my profit. What do you give me? Okay, so it's multiple data sources, not a combination of 13 different data sources combined together to give us and other vegetation, how it's looking and so on. Search that tells you from your vegetation if it's between 0 and 1.
So, the question maybe that comes is, probably you have a lot of numbers that are there. All the farmers actually stay consistently using our data. In my experience, Agritech platforms also market don't just look at a commercial model alone, but it's an integrated that involves that are here. That is answer.
Sorry, the last part of your question, could you repeat that?
Okay, so basically I was asking, how can you ensure that there is sustainability in terms of the usage of Agritech platforms going forward, especially looking at the low rate adoption of
Okay, thanks. I'm happy to for panelists. From Agripredict perspective or experience, we have seen the usage continue to grow. So as I mentioned, we have grown to the numbers that we have, which represent over fractions of this number has continued to grow, especially in the last 3 years. And I'll just speak to the point that I mentioned earlier, that I think the sustainability part comes in making sure that the solution really meets the challenges of the farmers. So we mentioned earlier that it's not just about sounding cool or looking cool, but does the solution actually address the challenge? And if they miss that as Agritech solutions out there, all these collaborations will not miss, or will not really amount to anything for the farmer at the end of the day. If it's not useful, it will not continue to be used. So for us, we have found a way of making this techniques loophole, sorry, not loophole, but feedbacks loop with the farmers, the development team, the players on the ground, just to make sure that we're constantly listening, constantly understanding the challenges, and constantly getting back. I hope that helps.
I would add to that is that this is a very common problem. It's not only about tech. Even a gym membership, a lot of people pay it and don't show up. At the end of the day, if you don't take the initiative to do something that benefits you, that completely falls on you. You cannot be pushed to do it. Yeah, so when institutions take a solution and subsidize that and give it to the farmers, this is when things change. And this is what I would love to see one day, where a government institution come to me and say that, you know what, we have a lot of CDF funding that usually goes to the farmer and does like impact on the spot, but 2 weeks later or 2 months later, that impact is gone. What about if we take on behalf of the farmer and we give them access to the data for the longest time, and they are able to increase their yields, they are able to benefit from it for the longest time. This creates a system where farmers can rely on something for a long time.
Hi, my name is Daman Mwanza. So that's how I say my name in sign language. So my question goes direct to Aki. So my question is this. There's a farmer out there in rural area. Is illiterate, so to say, or doesn't know anything about the right way to use AI, so to say. So how do you help such a farmer who doesn't know how to read, to write, but they want to take on the opportunity of using AI? So how do you help them?
I'll start about that. So from our platform, how we're building, the farmer himself doesn't need to know anything. As long as they have a smartphone or a normal phone, they can receive an SMS that tells them exactly what's happening in their field and in which side of their field, so they know what they need to do. Now, the other part which I mentioned previously, if themselves they cannot read and understand that, that's why we are working with institutions and extension officers who will help them access that information and understand what that information needs to be done. I'll give you another example. Usually, an extension officer takes care of 50 to 100 farms, more or less on average. And then they drive around these farms to check if there's anything wrong happening and so on. And that is very time-consuming and logistically very heavy. Now, if you have a platform that tells you exactly where the problems are, you don't need to be going around in circles. You just go exactly where there's a problem, talk to the farmer, tell him, I have information here that there's a problem in this side of your farm that needs 1 to 3 to be solved, and that's how things get much better. Thank you.
Okay. So also in addition, technology is quite vast. Quite right, people who may not be able to read or write, but they're able to speak. There is some technology that you can integrate with translators. Today we've seen there's some YouTube can do good work when it comes to translation, right, online. So that means somebody who's in Lozi, they'll be able to access the actual information, but in their local language. If that can also be built towards text to audio, that is, the quick and then it speaks back to them in their language, I think that's the kind of feature that would really be awesome to look at, because hey, even the person who's an illiterate, as long as they've got a phone, they're able to dial this and maybe get a voice message, or this is what is happening. Don't you think that would be awesome too?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Oashe Muladavungu. I'm a fourth-year agriculture economics student at the University of Banda. And I think how coordinated you are, you all have the same goal. And it's good that we're here because we're now linking agriculture with technology, Agritech. My question is simple, and it's just about your revenue streams. What are your revenue streams?
Thanks for that question. So we have, at Agripredict, we have multiple revenue streams. The first one is through the market access. So I mentioned that market access is one of the services on the platform, and there's 2 levels to it. So if you're selling tomatoes, I'm willing to buy tomatoes, that happens on the platform. But the next level up is when farmers are farming in groups. So we're able to connect that market, and when that happens, we could get a percentage from that. So that is one of the revenue streams. The other one is customized platform or customized software. So a lot of projects, for example, are interested in certain part of the services. So for example, one is interested in weather, one is interested in e-extension services. Another one may be early warning. So to customize that based on the particular project, we become it.
For us, it's mostly project-based. So there's a lot of institutions who have a bunch of farmers or sites or regenerated sites or pots that they want to monitor, and then we map all that for them and we provide the monitoring for them where they can access the dashboard and see everything that's happening at once. So I can't give you all the details, but if you're a bank and you have 3,000 farmers that you're monitoring, we are able to provide you with that, and that comes at a certain cost that you pay. So for us, we don't really go to the farmer to make them pay. It is possible, but it's not our business model. We prefer more institutional-based contracts and projects, and we do a lot of separate projects in the same time related to awareness and training for government institutions, for private institutions, on how to use satellites and data to integrate into a lot of this.
And on the part of Bargnbay and Munda Price, 2 different platforms. For us, mainly it's subscriptions, consultations, sales, logistics as well, and partnership placements to advertisements.
Okay, so Silon, Ahmad and Cassandra, thank you so much. What an insightful and timely discussion this morning. We appreciate for sparing your time and just to come and educate us and inform us. And as I said earlier, that in this place you're going to learn, unlearn, and also just learn more and more. So we'll take a picture. Please let us stand here, take a picture, and we'll go on a healthy break. Thank you so much. So we can give them a round of applause this afternoon, and we really appreciate you for just unloading the knowledge, and we appreciate you today. It's day 2 of the Farmers' Choice Awards Expo and Summit. Today's focus is agribusiness production and market systems, and we were just talking about from innovation to impact, scaling agri-tech solutions for African farmers. And having said that, we break off for a healthy break, and we will be back. What's the time now? So we'll be back at exactly 13 hours. Please, let's keep time and let's be back as we continue with our discussions this afternoon. Thank you so much.